and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the John Campea Show here on my YouTube channel on this glorious Sunday. You know, I like to do my shows at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sundays, so for those of us who like to watch us some football on Sundays, we can do the show and then get over plenty of time to watch some football. So glad you guys are here today. Whole bunch of stuff has come out and been announced just in the last 24 hours. And of course, what I like to do with most of my shows is take the questions that you guys send in to me. Now, how do you get a topic or a question on the John Campea Show? It's simple. Just email me anytime at john@thejohncampeashow.com. That's john@thejohncampeashow.com. Now, this part is important, guys. When you write, make sure you put the word topic in the subject line. In that subject line of the email, put the word topic. Also, make sure, keep your emails to 90 words or less. If they're any longer than that, I don't even bother reading them because I would never be able to physically fit them on the screen anyway. So, I'm going to talk about a couple of items in the world of movies and movie news, and I'm going to go over some questions that you guys have sent in to me. Then at the end of the show, I'm going to save a few minutes for those of you guys who are watching live, and a special hello to all you guys who are watching live right now. I'm going to go to you guys who are watching live and take some of your live questions. Here's how you can get a live question on the show if you're watching live right now. Make sure you tweet the question to me at John Campea. So just start your tweet with at John Campea, put in your question, and maybe you'll see your question on near the end of the show when we go to our live segment. Okay. With that out of the way, haven't had a show in a couple of days. As many of you know, I've been in Vegas this week. I decided to go back again because I love Vegas. And of course, they had all that horrible nonsense that happened there a while ago. And me and a friend decided, hey, let's go do some volunteer work in Vegas and stuff like that. And we went, and the amount of people that were there, it would inspire your faith in humanity. The amount of people there there were people being turned away from giving blood donations because they were so overwhelmed with people who wanted to come in and help and give blood. It's amazing. Makes you feel great about the human race. And then yesterday I was dealing with another issue. For many of you know who follow me on social media, I put up an article that I wanted to write yesterday. That took up most of my day, but we're back again, doing the show live, and let's get things started. Let's talk about this morning, 6 a.m. You might have saw my review. The brand new Justice League trailer dropped. Probably going to be the final Justice League trailer. I'm guessing, well, no, I take that back. There's probably going to be one more. I'm guessing there's probably going to be one more Justice League trailer. But at any rate, the brand new trailer just dropped. Now, I did do a review of it this morning. But for those of you who maybe didn't have a chance to see that, here's my basic thoughts on it. I liked it. I think it's a good trailer. I did not like it nearly as much as the last Justice League trailer. Like, for those of you who saw me talk about the last Justice League trailer, the one they showed at Comic-Con, I lost my mind for that trailer. I went totally nuts for that trailer. Loved it. This is a good trailer, but there were a couple things in it that made me, like I said, not like it as much as the last one. Number one was that Hero song. I think it was a David Bowie cover. Good song, but for me it didn't fit in the trailer. And I know some people have already told me on social media that they did like the song and they did feel it fit in the trailer. That's great. For me, it felt out of place. For movies like this, I just want to hear the score. I just want to hear that music, especially when you got like music by guys like Hans Zimmer and things like that have music traditionally involved with it. I just want to hear their score. And I said this in the review, but it bears repeating. I loved the opening of this trailer, with Clark standing in the cornfield, because Lois is having her dream. And you hear that Hans Zimmer, dun, dun, and I got chills. Because it made me feel like I was home again in this DCU, because to me, Man of Steel is the best DCEU movie so far. And seeing Clark and hearing that music was great. It wasn't a big thrill in the song. And did you notice that everybody was smiling? Like, they had to have a shot. It's like somebody sent down a memo from the executive offices. Make sure we see everybody smiling. Like, even in the midst of battle, we see Aquaman smiling. We see Wonder Woman smiling. We see, Flash is always smiling. They had lots of close-up shots of people smiling because they're like, let people know our tone is more happy. Anyway, but overall, I thought it was a good trailer. My biggest disappointment, I guess, with the trailer was the fact that I was really wanting a completely different trailer from the last one to show us a different side of the movie. And while there is definitely some new footage in there, it also in many ways felt the same as the last trailer. But anyway, that's my takeaway from it. Bottom line is I like the trailer. I think it's good. I just didn't like it as much as the last trailer. And like I said before, maybe I just like the first Justice League trailer or the Comic-Con Justice League trailer more than most people. Maybe that's just me, but I just, to me, that's still the trailer. All right, let's move on here. The next topic is, speaking of trailers, it's official, just like Mark Hamill leaked a while ago. Tomorrow is, of course, October 9th, and as Mark Hamill leaked a number of weeks ago, hey, maybe on October 9th you should watch a football game for some reason. And it's true. It's been officially announced. Star Wars The Last Jedi, their next trailer, drops tomorrow during halftime of the Monday Night Football game. Now, if you guys will remember, this is a strategy that they employed with The Force Awakens. They dropped a new Force Awakens trailer during halftime of a Monday Night Football game. And it worked. I mean, people watched the hell out of it and loved it. They exposed it to a slightly different audience because, let's face it, not all Star Wars fans are football fans. So you're exposing the trailer to this huge audience, biggest television audience of the week for Monday Night Football. It's really a great move. And on top of the fact that it's just a great move, you're exposing people who aren't traditionally, you think you're Star Wars going fans. It's the biggest show of the week, and it's a proven strategy for them because it worked before. Now, for somebody like me, it makes no difference because I'm watching Monday Night Football anyway. So, I mean, that makes no difference to me. I'm watching Monday Night Football anyway, but I've got a couple of buddies who are football fans, not that into movies and not even into Star Wars, who are going to be watching it, and they're going to see Star Wars play during their Monday Night Football game. And they're going to like it, and I'm excited about it. So cannot wait to see it. They did release a little clip, a trailer to the trailer. I hate trailers for trailers. But they released a little clip just showing Rey doing lightsaber exercises, and that's fine. It didn't really show too much, and that's good, actually. It's good that they didn't show too much. So I was happy with that, and yeah, hey, fair play. That's all great. But I am dying to see the meat of it. I hope it's not just a rehash of the last trailer. Don't give us too much, but they're not giving us 15 trailers, right? They've had one trailer so far, and the movie's 2 months away. So you can give us a new trailer filled with all new footage. That's what I'm really hoping for. Now, I'm sure they'll repeat a couple of shots from the last trailer, and again, that's fine. But just overall, make this feel like a new trailer, a new look. Reveal just a little bit more about what we can expect in this movie, and I'll be completely happy. I'll be totally happy. So, question for you guys. Here's what I got to ask. And for those of you guys who are in the live chat board right now, if you're somebody who does not, let's say you're a Star Wars fan, which everybody should be, of course. But let's say you're a Star Wars fan and you're not generally a football fan. Like my buddy John Schnepp, never watches sports, but he watched Monday Night Football with us so he could watch The Last Jedi or the Force Awakens trailer. Let me ask you this. Are you, if you're not even traditionally a football fan, are you now interested in watching at least a little bit of the football game so you can get to the halftime show and watch the new trailer? Or are you just going to wait for the trailer to drop online? Because obviously the trailer will drop online probably like 30 seconds after the spot shows on Monday Night Football. So you don't have to watch Monday Night Football to get the trailer. But if you're like me, you want to be the first person to see it. I'm watching live. I'm just curious. Are you guys going to watch the Monday Night Football game if you're not traditionally a football fan? All right. With that out of the way, let's move on to the next part of the show, which is taking the questions and topics that you guys have sent in to me. And we're going to start things off with our first question from Ofek Shekel, who writes, "Hey, John, I love your show and watch it every day. Thank you so much, Ofek. I really appreciate that. Based on what Elfman said and Henry Cavill's picture, I have a theory about Superman in the Justice League movie. I think that he comes back to life by Darkside and will be a villain and wear his black suit. By the end, he will return and will be good and wear his regular suit. What do you think?" Well, thanks a lot for the question, Ofek. And yeah, I mean, a lot of scuttlebutt, a lot of talk going around about Superman in his black suit. Henry Cavill, remember, like 5 months ago, put out an Instagram picture of the close-up of what is clearly the Superman suit, but in black. So we're going to see Superman in that black Superman suit at some point for some period of time. I agree that by the end of the movie, he's going to be back in his basic traditional Superman outfit, yes. But we're going to see him in black at some point. But let's talk about the main part of the email, which is you're wondering if Darkside is the one who brings Clark back to life. I'm going to go no. I don't think so. I don't think that's it, because remember, first of all, one of the things Darkside is looking for, if you understand, the first trailer, like the last trailer, it's like, there's no Kryptonian here. It's like, great, we can come in and invade Earth. I got an idea. Let's resurrect the Kryptonian. No, I don't think that makes sense. It could happen, but to me, it doesn't make sense. That goes against the logic of the first trailer when we hear Steppenwolf going, no Kryptonians. Well, let's bring back the Kryptonian. That makes no sense at all. Also, to me, when you watch Batman versus Superman, and at the end of that movie, and he's in his coffin, before the camera goes black, you see the dirt on his coffin start to levitate a little bit, which is, of course, what happened when Superman flies for the first time. Remember that scene in Man of Steel? He gets down, puts his fist down, and all of a sudden the rocks start to levitate, and boom, then he goes. Superman wasn't killed by kryptonite. He was killed with a big stabbing through the chest, right? So he couldn't come back from that. Now, the one inconsistency with this traditional Superman lore was he wasn't laid out being exposed to the yellow sun. Maybe when they had the open casket in Martha's house, the sun was coming through the window and was feeding his cells as he was laying there in the coffin. That's probably what I'm guessing happened. So I believe obviously he's coming back. I believe that he was already coming back to life by the end of Batman versus Superman. So I don't think Darkseid has anything to do with it, but you never know. Anything is possible. I just don't think it makes sense. It's not consistent with what we heard in the first trailer. And to me, he was already in the process of coming back to life at the end of Batman versus Superman. So, wearing black for a little bit in the movie? Absolutely. Could he even be a little bad for a bit of the movie? That's possible. I don't think so, but it's possible. But was he brought back by Darkseid? That I don't agree with. But what do you guys think? Jump into the comments section and let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you guys are thinking about that. All right, let's move on now to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from David Cocca. And David Cocca writes, greetings from Hamilton, John. Well, for those of you who don't know, Hamilton, Ontario is my hometown. Greetings, David. Yesterday, you discussed why the world didn't know of Batman before Superman came along. But how about Wonder Woman? Wouldn't she be in the history books, especially after what happened in No Man's Land? Thanks a lot for the question, David. And yeah, so what he was referring to is a question I took the other day is like, well, why, if Batman has been around for a number of years, why in Man of Steel is there no reference to Batman? The argument I made is because this is a different thing altogether. To the people who lived in the DCEU, Gotham has a vigilante. Wears a costume, but they probably don't think in terms of superheroes. So yes, Gotham has a vigilante, but Superman was a totally different deal. Superman was an alien from another planet who flies, can rip moons in half, and shoot laser beams from his frickin' eyes, is what I mentioned the other day. That's a totally different thing. Gotham City having a vigilante doesn't change the world. The Superman arriving, the alien from another world floating in the sky and fighting off other aliens floating in the sky, that changes the world. And so that's why I thought, yeah, in Man of Steel, when Superman shows up, it's a new thing for them, even though Batman has been around for a while. So what about Wonder Woman? Particularly her efforts at the No Man's Land battle. Best scene of the movie, by the way, of Wonder Woman was that No Man's Land battle. I don't think the world would have known about it. Now remember, when you're talking about the Battle at No Man's Land, that was not an era like today where everybody carried HD cameras around in their pockets on their cell phones, where everybody can just Snapchat and say, hey, look, some woman's fighting the Germans. That didn't happen. Also, remember the mindset today. I mean, we still live in a sexist society, and we're getting better. We're starting to get there. But like at the time, there ain't no soldiers going to go, yeah, we were pinned down and some skirt came along and saved us. They're like the attitudes of the day. There's no soldiers who's going to admit that. There was one slightly blurry black and white photo that was taken of Wonder Woman and her crew, but clearly that photo had been hidden and kept a secret because Lex Luthor uncovered it. So maybe there might have been some whispers and rumors, but seriously, think about it. If you lived in the DCU at the time, And some soldier comes back from battle who is clearly shell-shocked and maybe has PTSD and is traumatized by the war and tells stories about a mysterious woman who just popped up wearing next to nothing, who jumped out with her sword and ran towards the Germans. Not a lot of people are going to take that seriously. It would have been the same thing if Superman suddenly showed up during that battle. An alien with a big red cape floated in the sky and shot laser beams from his head. Do you have any pictures? No, got no pictures of it. Do you have any video footage? What's video footage? Then you're clearly traumatized. We don't believe you. And I think the same principle would have applied to Wonder Woman too. So no, I don't think it's inconsistent at all in the DCEU that there's not some official record of Wonder Woman being around. So to the world, Superman is the one first true superhero. Now, what they do in the Wonder Woman sequel that may contradict that, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't believe it's an inconsistency. I believe it's completely consistent with the DCEU that the world doesn't know about Wonder Woman at that time before Batman versus Superman. And she made a very public appearance in the battle against Doomsday. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. All right, let's move on now to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from James Walsh. And James Walsh writes, "Hello, John, and thank you for taking my question." You're welcome, James. "I was just wondering, what are your opinions on the film critic Armand White? Given he purposefully bashes critically liked movies, do you think his reviews should be continued or counted on Rotten Tomatoes?" Thanks a lot for the question, man. And yeah, Armand White is a name that has been around for about 8 or 9 years that I've been aware of him, at any rate. I'm sure he's been around doing this thing longer than that. And for those of you who don't know, Armand White is the literal definition of a contrarian. If a movie's getting good reviews, he will give it a bad review. If a movie's getting bad reviews, he'll give it a good review. Now, at first, this is going back to like 2010, 2011. I think I was still doing the movie blog at the time. At first, my opinion was just, hey, look, I don't like his reviews of movies. I don't think he's got particularly good taste, but whatever. But hey, all film is subjective. Just because he likes a movie I didn't like doesn't mean there's anything wrong with him. Just because he didn't like a movie I do like doesn't mean there's anything wrong with him. He's just got a different opinion. That's fine. That used to be my attitude. What began to become clear, though, was that this wasn't a case of just a guy who honestly had different opinions than everybody else. It started to become very clear this was being done on purpose, and he was doing it strictly on purpose. And when that became clear, then I started to get bothered by it. Because you read his reviews too, and it's like, it just becomes clear. It's like, oh my gosh, dude, you clearly don't really think that. Like, it's obvious you're making this up just so you can pretend to like that movie that everybody else hates, or just so you can pretend to not like that movie that everybody else loves. And it goes right across the board. He's gotten himself in trouble with a lot of his boards. So like his own New York Film Critics Society kicked him out. He was kicked out of a film festival because then he went from beyond just putting out controversial reviews to like levying racist remarks against the director of 12 Years a Slave, which was really shocking and horrifying. He got removed from that film festival. He's still on Rotten Tomatoes, though. And I'll say this. I don't care that a critic has a different opinion than me. Like I said, I've said this before, I'll say it again. The role of the film critic, what I see my role as a pundit of movies, is not to say things that you, my audience, agree with. My job is not even to convince you, as my audience, to agree with me. Here's what the job of a film pundit is, okay? And this is what I try to do. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I fail, but this is at least what I try to do. The job of a film pundit is to give your honest opinion and present your opinion with communication skills in such a way that it helps your reader or viewer or listener better understand their own position, whether it's a position that agrees with you or disagrees with you. It's not my job to say things you agree with, and it's not my job to say things or to convince you to agree with me. My job is to present my opinion in such a way that it sharpens your opinion as to why you agree with me, or to help it sharpen your opinion as to why you disagree with me. That's why, like, my favorite film critic of all time is still Roger Ebert. And I disagreed with Roger Ebert on like 50% of the movies, like at least half of the movies. But the thing I treasure in a good film critic is not whether I agree with them or not. Too many people today just look for people that agree with them and say things they already like. That's why you get like, CSNBC and Fox News. Just people on the left listen to CSNBC because all they want to hear is people that are already saying things that they already agree with. And people who watch Fox, not all of them, obviously, but a large number of people just watch Fox because all they want to do is hear people who are saying things they already agree with. I don't live life that way. I like reading critics that I disagree with as long as they're good in communicating their point. You know what I'm saying? And because then it helps me understand better as a viewer why I agree or why I disagree. Even better, it helps me sharpen my own position regardless of what the critic's position is. Armand White is a different thing. At least I personally become convinced of. Armand White is a different thing. Armand White is not a critic just giving his honest opinion. Armand White is a guy who deliberately and on purpose, says things that are completely contrarian. And we have a word for that in our modern online culture. It's called a troll. And to me, his stuff is a troll. And I don't even think Armand White denies it. I think he's like, yep, that's me. And he just does his thing. And you know what? More power to him. I mean, that's great. I don't have a negative other than the fact that I say that I have come to the belief after reading many of his reviews that he deliberately takes contrarian positions. Other than that, I don't have anything negative to say about the guy. I don't know Armand personally. For all I know, he's a super nice guy and a super sweet guy, and he's just doing his thing. And if people want to continue to talk about him and read his reviews, then you know what? More power to him. I mean, I don't read them anymore, but hey, a lot of people do, and that's fine. All right, let me move on now to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from one of my Patreon supporters, Kevin. And my Patreon supporter, Kevin, asks this. I finally received my Movie Pass card. Great, good. Took me like over a month to get mine. However, I'm concerned that the system has a significant drawback. I love going to the Thursday night openings of tentpole movies. Since these movie tickets often sell out in advance, it doesn't seem Movie Pass will be of much use for these shows. What is your experience? Thanks. And you know what? Before I answer Kevin's question, let me take this opportunity to give my little commercial break, my little shameless plug for my Patreon page. My show and my videos are made possible by my Patreon supporters. Head on over to patreon.com/John Campea. Find out what it means to be one of my Patreon supporters. These are people who actually step up and actually put their money where their mouth is, and they support the content that they like. And there are some advantages to being a Patreon supporter. Please go over to that page, check it out, and maybe being a Patreon supporter is something for you. And if it's not, totally cool. I'm just glad you're here watching the show with us. Okay, so let's get to Kevin's question now. Movie Pass. Now, I've talked a number of times about Movie Pass. I've been critical of Movie Pass lately, but I recently got my card, and I have mentioned this before, but my experience so far with using my Movie Pass card, I've been critical of them, but I gotta say, it's been very positive. I've been having a very positive experience with Movie Pass to the point that I've been privately recommending my friends, talking to my friends like Corey and stuff like that. I'm telling them, you should actually pick up the Movie Pass card. It's totally worth it. $10 a month. I've gone to see 5 movies this month at my AMC Burbank 16. Okay. The average ticket price at the AMC Burbank 16 is $15 a ticket. Okay. That means I've gotten $75 worth of movie tickets for my $10 a month card. It's worked great. Now, there are advantages to the Movie Pass card. There are drawbacks to the Movie Pass card. The drawback in particular that Kevin is talking about is the fact that you can't buy your tickets in advance. I mean, you can go to the theater a few hours early and use your card to swipe at the kiosk to buy your ticket. You can go a few hours in advance, but you can't buy your Star Wars The Force Awakens ticket 3 weeks in advance online with your Movie Pass card. Okay, you can't do that. And that's a little bit of that's a drawback. And yes, it is. There's no way around that. That's a drawback. If I wanted to go see, Star Wars the Last Jedi on opening night, I'm going to actually have to use my regular bank card and buy that ticket. But you know what? That's fine. That's fair. We can't expect. And again, I'm somebody who's been very critical of this whole Movie Pass thing and how they botched their rollout. And despite saying initially I'd get my card in a week, it took a month, and I've been very critical. But, let's be fair. To get a card that costs $10 a month, like I already pointed out, I've already gotten $75 worth of movie tickets for that $10 a month card. You can't expect to get everything for a $10 a month card. Like, you can't expect, I want IMAX in 3D, be able to buy my tickets 3 weeks in advance, and I want to get 3 free hot dogs and 2 popcorns and 3 soft drinks, all for my $10 a month card. Like, we got to understand there are drawbacks. And the fact that you can't buy your ticket big in advance and see a big movie on opening night, I think that's reasonable. I mean, it would have been really cool if you could have done it. I would have really lost my lid over it. Actually, I'd be willing to pay, if I could buy my tickets online in advance with my Movie Pass card, I'd be willing to pay $30 or $40 a month. I probably shouldn't say that and give them ideas, but I would probably be willing to pay a lot more. But for $10 a month, no, I don't feel it's too big of a drawback. I think it's a perfectly reasonable drawback. I think it's I'm tongue-tied. A perfectly reasonable limitation for $10 a month. Because like I said, I've already gotten huge benefit with it. But I'm curious about you guys. A lot of you guys I know have the Movie Pass card already. What has your experience been like? Have you really noticed that as a big drawback, or has it not really bothered you at all that much? Jump into the comments section and let me know what you guys think. All right, now with that out of the way, it's time for me, guys, to start to wrap this show up. And I said I would save a few questions for the end of the show to take those live questions that you guys who are watching live right now are asking. Once again, if you're watching live, tweet to me at John Campea. That's where I'm taking the live questions. So let me go to the live Twitter board right now and see what we got. And I'm not reading these in advance, so I'm just pulling these up. So forgive me if I get tongue-tied. All right. The first one we got here is from Zach Watts. Thanks for watching live, Zach Watts. John, do you think that we will see the Avengers Infinity War trailer with Thor Ragnarok? Yes, I do, but I also believe the trailer will drop before that. I've mentioned this before. I believe gone are the days that a trailer actually comes out with a movie. The trailers drop days in advance, online first. That's where trailers drop now. So, but do I think that by the time Thor Ragnarok comes out, will there be a Justice League Infinity War trailer playing in front of it? Yes, I do. I think there will be that trailer playing. All right, let's move on to the next one here as I try to get control of my control thing here. Okay, let's bring this one up. And this one comes to us from Kylo Benna, who writes, "Hi, John. Which is the better crew to you? Wonder Woman or Captain America's Howling Commandos?" I could have swore I answered this question before, but okay, sure. The Howling Commandos, absolutely. Absolutely the Howling Commandos. The Howling Commandos actually did stuff. I'm a big fan of the Wonder Woman movie, and I love the characters in Wonder Woman's crew, Chris Pine particularly. But you take away Chris Pine, they don't really do anything in that movie. They have a campfire. They sneak around the outside a little bit. Maybe they take one or two guys out. In Captain America, the first Avengers, I mean, you see, it's in a montage, but you see that the Howling Commandos go on several violent big battle missions fighting the Nazis. I mean, so you see that and happen. So yeah, to me, it's the Howling Commandos, no doubt, no question. Okay, let's check out this next tweet. The next tweet comes to us from Maximum Effort 44. Good Deadpool reference there. Thanks for watching live, Maximum. John, have you gotten a chance to check out Big Mouth? I think it's absolutely hilarious and brilliant. No, I have not. I talked about Big Mouth the other day. It's a brand new Netflix series. I talked about it before it came out because a new trailer had dropped, and I talked about the trailer. It's an animated series about these kids going through puberty, and the trailer looked hilarious. I have not had a chance to watch it yet. I will probably do that in the next couple of days and probably put up a review. But everybody I know who has seen it, I know 3 or 4 people who've seen it, they're all saying it's hilarious. So I'm looking forward to watching it. I can't wait. I'll keep my eyes on that. Okay, next question comes to us from the Ofreer, who writes, John, thoughts on the Leonardo DiCaprio, Martin Scorsese, Teddy Roosevelt movie? Yeah, this is a movie that Leo has been wanting to make for a long time, and Scorsese has been wanting to make for a long time. And they announced that they're doing it. The issue right now, though, is I don't know when they're going to do it, because their schedules are pretty packed. But look, I think it's fantastic source material. I think it's an excellent figure person to be doing a biopic on. It's got one of the best actors alive today with one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. What's there not to be excited about, right? Okay, let's move on. Next question comes for us from the Real McKenzie. And the Real McKenzie is writing, if Rey is with Luke and Finn... Okay, let me try that again. If Rey is with Luke and Finn is with Rose, what do you think's Poe's role will be in The Last Jedi? Poe will be on a mission. I mean, I know nothing except for one big major spoiler I know, which I will not share. Other than that one big major spoiler, I know nothing about the Force or The Last Jedi. So what Poe will be doing, no idea. I just know he'll be doing something. He'll probably be off on a solo mission, doing something adventurous and heroic and all that kind of stuff, but I really don't know at this point. Let's see. Next one comes from Smith10011, says, "Oh, I'll be watching Monday Night Football." Me too, buddy. Me too. Let's go on to the next one. The next one comes to us from Alex PetPropBR, who writes, "John, do you think that replayability is important for movies? Should we judge movies by the second or third viewing?" No, I don't think so. Look, I don't think it's wrong to reevaluate after a second or third viewing. That's fine. But for instance, let's take a movie like Detroit. All right, Detroit, that was in theaters recently. I think one of the best films of the year. I'll never watch it again. I loved the movie, but it's so heavy and so disturbing that it's like Schindler's List. I never watched Schindler's List a second time. I love Schindler's List. I think everybody should see it at least once. Not a movie I can watch again, though, because it's so heavy. And I'm glad I had that experience, and I'm glad I watched it. But, the rewatchability of a movie can be a factor, but should it be one of the major factors? No, I don't think so. I think movies are designed to strike you a certain way the first time. You watch a movie like, say, one of my top 10 all-time favorite films is The Usual Suspects, right? Once you know the twist, it does change your viewing experience of the movie a little bit. So you'll never be able to see it the same way you watched it the first time. So no, I still believe the main thing you should judge a movie on is your first experience. That means sometimes you'll change your opinion on a movie later, but I still think the most valuable experience is the first experience you have with the movie. Let's see. I'll just take a couple more quick ones here. This one comes to us from D Terrible Twins, who writes, "John, what are the chances of the Justice Society in the DCEU? I've always loved the legacy characters. I honestly don't think very high. I don't think there's much of a chance there. I think television will be in the CW universe is the greater chance that we'll see stuff like that, but in the DCEU, I really don't think so." All right, next one comes to us from Ty Griffin, who writes, "John, what's a great way to get your foot in the door in the film industry? Make a movie. Just go make a movie. Nothing's stopping you from sitting down. I took this great film class by the same guy Tarantino took a film class guy. His name is, oh crap, I'm losing his name now. Anyway, Dove S.S. Simmons, that's what it is. I took a film class from Dove S.S. Simmons that a lot of Hollywood people have taken film classes from. And he said something great once that I believe applies to movie making, but also podcasting and blogging and YouTubing and all that kind of stuff. Dove S.S. Simmons said this great thing. And he's one of the really good Hollywood film instructors. And he said this: "People ask me, how do you make a movie? It's simple. Put a camera on a tripod, get a friend of yours in front of the camera, hit record, say action, an hour and a half later say cut, and you've got a movie." Now, as silly as that sounds, think about that. I think the best way to get your foot in the door in the industry is start doing it. Just start writing. Most people I find are just too lazy to do it themselves. Most people I find when they ask me, I'm not saying you're doing this, I'm saying most people ask me, "Hey, John, how do I get successful on YouTube?" Or how do I get into the film industry? What they want to hear is "Oh, just go to this website and click this link and you'll be in the film industry." They want a secret, easy way. But there's no secret, easy way. There's only the hard way. And the hard way is just start doing it then. Write your own script. Pick up a little handy cam, use your iPhone if you want, or your Android phone or whatever, and shoot a movie. You want to get started? That's how you get started. Maybe you get good enough at it, you start to catch people's attention. Go to school for it, obviously, those the more traditional routes. But there's a lot of ways you can get started. All right, let's try this. Elijah Hua A writes, "Is Angelina Jolie too old to play Catwoman?" It depends on the Catwoman you want. If you want Catwoman in an Origins type of story, then yes, Angelina Jolie is too old to play Catwoman. If you want to play a Catwoman who's in the same era as the Ben Affleck Batman, then no, Angelina Jolie isn't too old to play her. I think Angelina Jolie would be a great Catwoman, just like many other actresses would be. Let's see. Last question of the day. This one comes us from Mikey7382 writes, John, hey, John, can you see Joss Whedon's influence in the new trailer? Yeah, I think you totally can. I even think all the deniers out there who deny that Joss Whedon is really doing anything in the movie at all, I even think they'll acknowledge that they see his influence in there. But I will say this too. I think this is more Warner Brothers trailer than Joss Whedon's trailer. I believe, like we've seen, that Warner Brothers has reacted to what they perceive as the response from the audience, and that can be a good thing, that they needed a lighter tone. They wanted a lighter tone. We've been hearing that for ages, long before Joss Whedon ever came on board with Justice League. We've been hearing that Warner Brothers wants to take the DCEU into a lighter tone. I personally have never thought there was any problem with the DCEU tone. I love the tone of Batman versus Superman. I love the tone of Man of Steel. Tone is never the problem. Tone is just the scapegoat excuse that a lot of people have used about the DCEU, but I've never thought the tone was the problem. But it became clear that Warner Brothers said they wanted a lighter tone. So I believe that the second trailer was going to be the everybody smiling trailer, no matter what, whether Zach was still there, whether Joss Whedon's still there. Because remember, the directors, 99% of the time, the directors do not make the trailers. The marketing departments make the trailers. Okay? There are very, very few rare occasions where directors actually step in and get involved in the marketing. Most of the time, though, the studios do not let the directors get involved with the marketing. They leave that to their marketing department. So while I do believe we see some of Joss Whedon's influence in the trailer, I believe this is not Joss Whedon's trailer. I believe this is Warner Brothers' trailer. All right. The last question I will take today. Let's bring this up. Oh, it turns out it's also from Elijah, who writes, John, if Ben Affleck is the definitive Batman, who is the definitive Catwoman? Mine is Angelina Jolie. I do not think you can say somebody who has not played Catwoman is the definitive Catwoman. To me, the definitive Catwoman is Michelle Pfeiffer. I loved the Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, that was a movie where I was kind of like, really? They cast her to be Catwoman? And then she ended up being the best part about that movie. Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises is the best thing about that movie. And I didn't think she was going to be very good, but I still think Michelle Pfeiffer, all due respect to the original television Catwoman and all that kind of stuff, and Halle Berry and whoever else. But to me, when I think Catwoman in the movies, I think of Michelle Pfeiffer. All right, guys, that will do it for me for this installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much to all you guys who've joined me in the chat board. It's great to have you guys here and being a part of this. Listen, guys, do me a favor. If you like this show and you like these videos, click the go take a second right now, go down, click the thumbs up button, leave a comment, share this video around, and share my other videos around as well. If you like this stuff, consider becoming a patron, all that kind of nonsense. Make sure you click on the subscribe button, become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. Follow me on social media, simply on Facebook and Twitter at John Campea. That will do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. And until the next video, bye-bye.